The 10th chapter of the book of Genesis is often called the Table of Nations, and it tells us where the major ethnic groups came from, beginning with Noah's 3 sons. The chapter ends with this verse.
These are the clans of Noah's sons, according to their lines of descent within their nations. From these the nations spread out over the earth after the flood.
Once again, centuries of time passed and the population of the world increased. Our story now moves on to what historians call the cradle of civilization, ancient Mesopotamia, now modern-day Iraq.
Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As men moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there.
They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole earth."
After the flood, God had told man to
be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth.
But now man was not only trying to change the agenda, but he also had something to add of his own. First of all, man felt that everyone should stay in one place and build a big city. This was in direct disobedience to God's command. As you can see, man has a problem with obedience. Have you ever wondered why you don't need to teach little children to disobey mom and dad? You can just see it, can't you? Mom sits little Johnny down with Susie and, "Okay, Susie, this is how you're sassy. No. Joey, now pull Susie's hair. No, pull harder. That's right. There, you're getting it. Susie, this is the way you talk back to mommy now. Go ahead." You don't have to do that, do you? I don't need to tell you that you don't need to teach little children to disobey. It comes very naturally because defiance is natural to the human heart. It's part of the nature we inherited from Adam. Basically, we as humans don't want to be told what to do. We prefer to do our own thing. This was the problem with the people of Babel. Secondly, along with the city, man wanted to build a tower to bring honor to his name. Now, the tower that the people built is probably what we now know today as a ziggurat. And there are ruins of a number of these massive structures that can still be seen today. They were built of burnt brick, just as the Bible records. And on the basis of its foundation, one such ziggurat has been estimated to be up to 300 feet or 95 meters in height. That's pretty high. And the Bible makes clear the purpose of the tower. It is said they wanted to
make a name for ourselves.
Once again, man was functioning independent of the Most High God. Now, Babel is the first incident of an organized religion recorded in the Bible. Babel, or what became known as Babylon, is often used in the Scripture as an example of man's religious efforts. And the people, in trying to reach heaven, that's what they were trying to do, were going about their own way of trying to reach God. You know what? It didn't work. There's only one way to God, and that's God's way. Now, a good definition for the word religion is this: man's efforts to reach God. Man's efforts to reach God. You know, by nature, man is very religious. He tends to be very religious. He is constantly searching for or creating new ways to find God. It's a hopeless pursuit. We will see that God says that man is lost. Man cannot find his way home, back to God on his own. In contrast to religion, we will find that the Bible teaches us that the only true way to God was provided by God Himself, when in His mercy He reached down to man and provided man with a way to escape the punishment for sin through the blood sacrifice. Now, none of man's impressive tower and city-building efforts escaped God's notice. God was fully aware of what was going on.
But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the men were building. The Lord said, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them."
God knew what history has proved to be true, that with a common language, man's progress in technology is much faster. It seems to be the pattern, doesn't it? The more advanced and comfortable things are, the less man feels he needs God. Though God had given man a free will, He did not want man to live independently of Him. Well, the story goes on. Speaks for itself, really. God took action to confront man's defiance. God said,
"Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so they will not understand each other."
So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city.
When God scattered them, He gave them new languages, and He did a thorough job. One of the languages in New Guinea that I was exposed to had 18 vowels. 18 vowels. Can you imagine that? 9 of them were non-aspirated, and 9 of them had a little puff air that was aspirated. And to hear the difference, it was just absolutely incredibly difficult. Very complex languages. Well, the city the people were building didn't disappear, but it did take on a name. It means confusion.
That is why it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth.
Paul, I'm wondering something here. At this point, do some people ask about the origin of all the races?
Yes, they do. Mm-hmm. And in one sense, there's only one race, the human race. The Bible distinguishes people by national or tribal groupings, not by skin color or by physical appearance. But those differences do exist. It used to be that the multitudes of races really stumped people. Where did they come from? The Bible was silent on the issue. Well, now that we've come to understand genetics, it is understood that significant racial distinctions can happen after only a few generations. The Bible says that all the nations of the earth came from Noah, his 3 sons, and their wives, who presumably had the full spectrum of genes enabling racial distinctions to appear.
So it really isn't a difficult problem to explain.
No, it's not. And once again, there are papers and books written so that a layman can make sense of this issue.